Viewer beware, you're in for spoilers if you continue this scare.
Hey everybody, it's Bumps in the Night. Today I bring you a review on the new Goosebumps series. I'm sure you can already guess. Today we'll be talking about the Haunted Mask. Well, this mask isn't haunted, but you get the idea. So in the first episode, we talked about Say Cheese and Die. Episode 2 was called The Haunted Mask. And the Haunted Mask, it wasn't as bad as everyone thought it was going to be. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I also thought it was going to be terrible considering we saw this picture and we assumed it was just going to be a mask, and we thought maybe the ghost was attached to the mask, but that wasn't the case, considering, yes, the mask was haunted, but the mask wasn't just possessed, it wasn't just that mask. The mask did change over time, and it kind of moved its expressions, kind of like my mouth's doing, but different. Not to mention, over time, the wearer did kind of morph it, and they even did that little Easter egg where she had trouble taking it off. I don't have that problem, but this is just a regular mask. The Haunted Mask loops back a bit, and it focuses on a character we saw in the first episode. She was the AV chick. Her name is Isabella. And Isabella is kind of invisible, which I thought was kind of an interesting trope they went with. Talk to people, walk by people, and people would just ignore her, like she wasn't there, which is really messed up. One thing about her character is because she's invisible, she has this online persona, which she calls that one troll, or your favorite troll, that's what it is. So your favorite troll is online and essentially just leaves all these mean comments and says this shit she'd never say to anybody in real life, but shit she can get away with because she's behind a mask online. It's a persona. Anyway, a fun little reference there. Isabel decides to go to the Halloween party that Isaac, his girlfriend, Margot, and James are throwing. Her brother talks into it, and so she goes to the party. Like everything else, she's just kind of ignored. She ventures off on her own, and she ends up near the basement where she hears her name being called. So she goes downstairs into the basement where she finds a mask. The mask tells her to put it on and she'll be seen. She does put it on, and people do pay attention to her at the party, so she ends up taking it home with her. Then we kind of fast forward. It's the next day at school. She's got a drone, which is a really fancy drone, way more expensive than a high schooler should have, but she's flying this drone. And then we have this standard stoner cliche character that does death-defying stunts and stuff. We saw him in the first episode. He skateboarded off the roof of the shop he was living in. And in this one, he jumps from a chain link fence and grabs the drone and then brings the drone down with him and breaks the drone. Next thing you know, we're in the guidance counselor's office, who, by the way, the guidance counselor is Margot's dad. And if you remember Margot, she's the neighbor to Isaac. I explain a lot of this because, honestly, these characters are pretty two-dimensional, and you don't find a lot of reason to find attachment to them. I mean, yes, they're our main cast, but aside from their story arcs in general, it's not like I'm emotionally invested in any of them. Now, granted, it is only the second episode. I'm hoping that changes over time. So we have a scene set up where Isabel, our stoner guy, and the guidance counselor are all talking out what happened with the drone, and the mask is in her bag. The mask is seen and shot, and the bag is open, and as she looks at the mask, she gets influenced by it, and she starts kind of speaking her mind in a really critical kind of sense, for you're a worthless piece of shit, and you have a lame job, and you failed at life, and just she hits home, and I mean, I love that. That's how I am all the time. So if you don't know me personally, that's how I am. After she realizes the mask is influencing her, she agrees to some bullshit payment plan, and she skedaddles. Then she goes home and realizes that the mask is kind of influencing her, and she's like, oh, I don't know. Then her mom gets mad at her and grounds her for the drone because it turns out the drone was her dad's, so she takes away all her stuff, and then from there, essentially, she puts the mask on again, and she heads out. And this time, she's looking for revenge. And she goes out, and she finds her stoner friend, who essentially busted her stuff. And she gets mad, and she decides to attack him. And so, at this point, the mask finally morphs. Now, we've seen the mask smile, and we've seen the mask have a straight face, but the mask finally morphs and, fuses with her skin, and she becomes this, troll-like creature, which, again, I see what they're doing with troll online, that's just troll in real life. Yes, the mask wasn't as cool as it was from the original show, or even the picture from the book, but it was still a monster, and it was still interesting, and it still did its thing. As in the original book, or in the show, the mask did fuse with the host, and it did this here, so I'll give them credit there. Now, granted, it wasn't the Haunted Mask. This was its own thing, but this entire show so far has been its own thing. It's like its own world that references Goosebumps. It didn't need Goosebumps to survive per se, but Goosebumps helps drive the plot. This could have been another show. It didn't need Goosebumps. Goosebumps is just it's an enhancer. It's like a spice. It makes it better. That makes sense. And if you hadn't figured it out by now, this entire series is shot somewhere in Washington. Yeah, that's a plus there. Margot and Isaiah come across Isabel in her troll form attacking our skater friend, She beats the shit out of him, snaps his skateboard, which is more than fair. I mean, didn't do enough damage in my opinion to make up for what she lost, but it's more than fair. After they kind of knock her away, she scurries off and you get like a good shot of her, and it's grotesque. I'll throw it up here. From that point, she goes home. She sees her mom keeps talking about her. I don't know what got into her. Well, it's the mask. It's Harold Biddle, realistically. Once the mom goes to work, Isabel goes into her home, starts trashing it until she gets back her phone. The little brother hears this. He gets up, kind of nervous. He grabs a landline, which, by the way, my wife pointed this out. Who has a landline in 2023? I mean, my grandparents do, but they're 80. So anyway, he grabs the landline, and I don't call 911. I don't call my mom. He calls his sister, which the phone in the troll's pocket is Isabel. So it starts ringing, and he's like, oh shit, it's her. So then he scurries off. We have a very, very short chase scene where essentially he hides in his treehouse, and we get a jump scare where she walks away, like, oh, we're good. And then, just surprise, she punches out behind him and tries to grab him through the treehouse. Then, like, he falls down the ladder, and he's like, oh, please, please, don't kill me. And I'm guessing this was the reference to, like, a symbol of love. Essentially, she realized she loved her brother, and that brought her back, and then she was able to take the mask off. The arc's pretty much over. We get to a point in time where she decides to get rid of the mask. She walks over to a bridge and throws it in some like nasty pond water. They scream at the mask to rot in hell for like, oh, I don't know, way too long in my opinion. We see Justin Long's character come out, which by the way, I forgot to mention in this episode he was possessed. Probably early on he was possessed by Harold Biddle. Like you see the Biddle kid like get up, float to him, and like cram himself inside him. He kind of shows up all creepy-like, and he takes the mask back from the pond, because in the very last scene it shows him putting the mask back in the basement where it was in the original part of the episode. So, yeah, that was more or less a breakdown of the plot. Overall, it wasn't a bad story. I actually like Say Cheese and Die more than Haunted Mask, which is crazy to me, because book-wise, Haunted Mask is way better. But with this episode, with this setting, the mask wasn't bad. It was used to establish Isabel's character. I think it did its job plot-wise. There was also a point in time where at the very end of the episode, the parents decided to talk because there's murmurs amongst them that Harold's back, which I've talked about in like a prior video that, hey, the parents know what happened to him, that's why he was messing with the kids. So she goes to the parental meeting, and she gets put in this game room with the gay best friend, James. Well, the parents are kind of snapping at each other. Her and James are playing pool, and she overshoots the pool ball and skips it off the table, and it hits James, and he fucking explodes into the green slime. So we figured out right then and there, it's not monster blood. It's definitely, he's a slime clone, or he's a duplicate, which I'm sure they're going to get into that because the next episode's Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and I'm sure maybe if I had to guess at this point in time, he's probably a replica, or like a variant of himself in time. I'm not sure how it's all going to work, but time travel's weird, but yeah, it explodes and bam, we're on to the next episode. So, I liked the episode. I didn't like it as much as Say Cheese and Die, but you know, what are you going to do? I think, so far as a series, 2 episodes in, I'm really enjoying it. I know online I've seen a lot of people talk bad about it. I don't think it's that bad. I guess it really comes down to this. The opinion comes down to the viewer. I'm enjoying it. I hope that it doesn't get as much hate as I'm seeing so far. But anyway, if I was going to rate this episode, scale 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6.5. That's my thoughts on it. I didn't think it was bad. Personally, it's not the best, but there's like another 8 episodes, I think. So if this is the worst one, so be it. What'd you guys think? Why don't you comment down below and we'll talk about it. Haven't really heard much about Slappy yet. Still kind of interested to see where that goes. And if you guys haven't already done so, maybe consider subscribing. I'm getting close to 1,000 subs. Once I get to 1,000, I'm doing a book giveaway. And once I get to 1,500, I reveal some big dark secret I have. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to go watch Cuckoo Clock of Doom now.